सवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति. Welcome back, all of you. Do you try and do some introspection yesterday? Did you? We should keep doing introspection. It's very, very important. We are not just listening in one ear, throwing out in another ear. What we call interauricular interconnection should not be there. It should go straight up to the brain and should record in its memory, then withdraw it as and when you want, and try to see what this person is trying to talk. I am trying to impress upon you. We are together, of course. We are, whenever say I and you, don't take me as different from you. We have gone beyond that state. I am now, we are trying to see that whatever I say makes an impression on you. How does it make? You may be surprised to know that there are cells in our brain, what we call as mirror neurons. Mirror neurons. These mirror neurons, when you see the other person, if he is suffering, we also feel suffering. If he is in pain, we become compassionate. So there is Wi-Fi connection between individuals. We do not know. We just think, I am different, you are different, I am separate from you. In fact, we are connected wirelessly through Wi-Fi. And this connection is through neurons called mirror neurons. They actually reflect some other feelings in us. This is a very, very important advancement, what we have learned. By this, what we understand, whatever we see as an object, we actually get connected with that through these Wi-Fi neurons. We are not separated. We feel we are separated, but actually we are interconnected. This is very beautifully told in our spiritual classics also. They say, whenever we see an object, we are connected with the object. What is that that connects? May look invisible, but that is a common constituent of existence. I am existing, the tree is existing, the space between two of us is existing. We are on the same platform of existence. This is how we have to take ourselves further. Do you know that we can taste sounds and we can hear smell? You feel, what is this man talking? Something new he brings every day. This is something. What is that? This is true. We call it synesthesia. SYNSTHESIA. Synesthesia. Nearly about maybe 1 in 2,000 people will have this. You know, we have all come from one common origin. This common origin, later one gene gets activated. This gene keeps on separating them, and finally it separates 5 constituents as 5 senses and actually demarcates them. Say what? Sometimes it is not possible to clearly demarcate. Then they get interconnected. When you hear a sound, you may feel a particular taste. When you call your mother, you may feel a particular preparation which your mother prepares. Maybe you recall that. You connect it with that. We call it synesthesia. If you want, many of you, you can just type Dr. R.N. Sreenathan at the New Indian Express, and many articles in series I have written just for interest. You can just go through them whenever you have some time. All right. Why did I tell this? Synesthesia. It means whatever we are depends on the connection of the brain. If connection of the brain itself is not normal or is disarray, then automatically our expression will be different. So we have come to a very important point. Finally, it is the connections of the brain which are important in our interaction with the external world. How is that? We were seeing, we continue to see by studying the brain. All right, by studying the brain, we continue to see. We were seeing this in the last class, and we see it further now. Okay. And all right, we were somewhere here. Yes. So you understand that this particular one, I will now, what I do, yeah. Yes. Can you see this membrane? We have talked about the membrane yesterday. Every cell in the body has got the membrane. Every cell has got membrane. Okay. Now we go to another. Yes, that's what I wanted. Old man, you know, sometimes computer also doesn't listen to me. Yes, now it's fine. We have seen that. Oh, we have seen this also. Very interesting in the last class, you know. See, we are at this level. What is at this level? Hydrogen atom. Still beyond that, what is that? You're all good students, should be able to tell me. Beyond this, there are strings. Beyond the strings, what are there? Virtual particles. Beyond that, what is there? Space. Space contains everything. See how beautiful. You know how our rishis came to know about it? It's surprising, I tell you. Urdhvamola madhasyakham ashwatham prahuravyayam chandansi yasya paranani yastam veda savedavit. All this, you see, urdhvamolam. Urdhva is your space. Adhasyakaha, it goes on solidifying as you go down. And this is what they explain. And we are stuck here. We don't want to learn anything beyond that. Say I am in first standard. I know every alphabet, everything. I get 100 out of 100 in first standard. I don't want to go to the second standard. Why should I go when I am getting 100 out of 100 here? Let me stay here and enjoy the first standard. Why should I go? All of us are like that. We are not trying to improve. We are not trying to think beyond, trying to go beyond. Instead of that, we always try to hold on to our conditioned path. We get conditioned. We know this world is real. My family is real. That color is real. And we are holding on to it. This is death. Death is holding on to one particular view. We have come here to unfold. We have come here onto this earth to unlearn, not learn, unlearn. Whatever we have learned should be unlearned till you reach this space, and I am coming to that. Coming. We were talking of cell yesterday. In that, I have talked to you about, the cell membrane. And the cell membrane, as you know, is a membrane because it has all antennae connections and it is connected with the external world. Therefore, every single cell feels the external world, experiences the external world, is in touch with the external world. We are not separated from the external world. They don't teach this in schools. Unfortunate. They never teach this. This should have been taught. No, nobody is serious to think. They just say it is like that, it is this one, this is this one. Oh, what are you doing? I am a scientist. I am going to tell you what happens to the scientists when at the quantum level. That I will take in the next this one. So this is the membrane, which is the complete brain. And in the body, there are signal molecules which interconnects, and all of them together are working. For example, a cell in the intestine is connected with the brain cell through these signal molecules. But what we think, gastroenterologist is a separate doctor. He is nothing to do with neurologist. You have something connected with brain, go to neurologist. This specialization has put a lot of block on our holistic understanding. And nobody is bothered. William Osler, father figure, Canadian physician, he told, hey doctors, you know what you are supposed to do? First, teach the patients how not to take the drugs, how not to take the medicines. Every doctor should teach how to be healthy. Go to hospital, everywhere, everyone talks of disease only. In medical colleges, I was there in teaching medical college for more than 46, 47 years. Everything about disease. There is nothing about health. About disease we are taught. As though we are destined to have disease, destined to go to hospital, destined to get treated. This is really pathetic. Our body is completely comes with everything fitted into it. Even medical chest is there in the body for your information. If you have severe pain, the morphine is released in the body. You know how they found out the receptors for that? They didn't find this morphine or pethidine before. They first found the receptors in the brain. Later say this is a particular receptor. What locks into it? They saw this particular drug which is pain relieving. So in body we have everything intact. It is something like a person who has the key of wealth in Switzerland, Swiss bank, but has sweetly lost the passcode. Or we have the key, our happiness key is handed over to somebody. Our Swami Chinmayanandji always used to tell, never hand over the key of your happiness to the other person. Keep the key of your happiness in your pocket. It is your right. By being happy is your right. All right. Going further, inside this, there is a thing called mitochondria. See? Mitochondria. Do you know mitochondria is a bacteria? We think it is our part. No. Mitochondria has got its own DNA. It is a bacteria. Bacteria which has naturalized in us, joined and helping us. And this mitochondria is the one which gives us currency note. You know currency? without rupee, without dollar, nothing works. Wherever you go, slot machine, whatever it is, you give the money, then it opens. How the body works, you know? Body also works on currency. This currency is called ATP. And ATP is produced in the mitochondria. And ATP is produced in this mitochondria. Yes, it is here the ATP is produced. How the ATP is produced? Every moment from outside, oxygen comes, from through the stomach and intestine, glucose comes. The glucose and oxygen meet here and prepares ATP. And with ATP, you know what ATP does? Very important. ATP keeps sodium more outside the cell, sodium less inside the cell. This is life. Do you know that? This is life. If this is not maintained, we are dead. Why we know we immediately, what we say, go unconscious if there is no glucose? Because brain cells are very sensitive for this. It requires ATP to run that machine, to maintain outside sodium more. So are you writing it? You have to teach this to your grandchildren. Please write that. Say, don't bother about rupee, about dollar. Bother about ATP. How is it generated? How you conserve it? How you use it? Because without ATP, next moment we are dead. That cell doesn't work. So you have understood that important point. The other thing, I will come down. We have seen yesterday about this brain. Now let me come to this part. This is a neuron. How many neurons are there? I told you 100 billion neurons. You see, this is an axon, long one. Very interesting. You know what happens? You place one axon by the side of the other, go on placing like that, one by the side of the other. You know what will be the extent? 1,000 kilometers. 1,000 kilometers. Your modern jet has to fly for more than 1 hour to cross your axons placed one by the side of the other. Look at that, how many things we have got within that brain. Now, this neuron has a cell body and has got dendrite, which acts like a receiving station, and then axon, and then there is end here, what we call as synapse junction with the another neuron. Electrical impulse begins here. We don't go into details. We just understand our function of our body. And this electrical impulse, when it goes here, it releases a chemical and it makes another neuron start or stop. It is like Coco game. Have you seen Coco game? You run behind, say Coco, and that person begins start runs. Then another person go Coco, then he will run. See, it is something like that. A game is played here. So now here, one neuron can stimulate many number of neurons. So action becomes widespread. Now, here is a sodium channel. What is sodium channel? This is sodium. Like this. A channel across the membrane is a channel, means an opening across the membrane, and it is a protein. I am little slow because words are new. And now what happens? Sodium is here. If the channel is open, outside more concentration, inside less concentration, suddenly it falls in. One of my friends, he is there in the audience, Dr. Narayan Rao, a well-known physiologist, and he sent me, the letter, a message stating that, when we started our career, we knew there is only one sodium channel. Now he says that there are at least 10 sodium channels. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that they go on adding. What do you understand by that? You understand that our knowledge as of now is not complete. That means our medicine, what we are getting, is not perfect. That means less dependence on doctor is the safest thing. Have you understood this? Never it is complete medicine. They make us believe that once you are wrong, come on, run to the hospital, as though there is a remedy waiting there. They are good only in saving us from the sudden death, and also by prolonging the death. But treatment-wise, they are very poor. They cannot cure hypertension. They cannot cure diabetes. If it is some cancer, they cannot cure. They may meddle with, remove it, but they cannot completely cure. What is that they cure? They may cure some bacterial infections, but with lot of side effects. So what is the best thing? I am repeatedly telling, to be happy is to be with yourselves. There is a study recently done in Israel, where for all senior citizens, they dropped about from 10 tablets to 4 tablets. You know what? At the end, all were very happy, very relaxed, and they gave only those which are very essential. Remaining thing, they all stopped. All of us must be taking multivitamins. When we take multivitamins, you know what happens? Our body stops producing vitamin because it depends on the first one. It becomes lazy. We have all our organs, we are making them lazy. We are taking multivitamin. We know as though that doesn't mean that we should take it. We should make the body work. All right. Now let me go further. So what are the words we have used? Dendrite, axon, and here is a synapse. Okay. Now look at this. There is another cell called oligodendrocyte which gives an insulin covering to the axon because it's very long. This insulin covering is called myelin sheath. Myelin. And in some autoimmune diseases, this myelin is removed. So it results in a condition called multiple sclerosis. It is an autoimmune disease. What is an autoimmune disease? I am going to tell. And there are astrocytes, which are all important in maintaining the ionic balance. These are very, very important. When earlier we knew, oh, they are not of much importance, they are there. But 4 to 5 times they are more than the neurons. Nature will not keep something without any function. There must be something. Only thing is, we still do not know what it is. That's all. Otherwise, they must be having some function. Many of the functions we have of late come to know, even they help in interconnections and all that. All right, this is the action potential, electricity that is generated by sodium going in and going further like this. There is one fish called puffer fish. It has a chemical called tetrodotoxin. And when puffer fish they eat, in Japan they eat, and suddenly this is blocked. Patient dies unless he is taken to hospital. Under those circumstances, hospital is the best because they will save us. So like that, for your information, all our secrets of production of action potential, action and release of neurotransmitters are known to our insects and reptiles. You know what they do? They bite us. When they bite us, the poison acts on the neurotransmitters. All poisons at different levels acts on the neurotransmitters. All right, it is like this. You see, here is a neurotransmitter. Let us take it is dopamine, and dopamine comes here. It is docked actually, like a ship is docked, then is released. When it comes into the synaptic space between two neurons, then goes and sits here on the receptor like a key over a lock, opens it. Here sodium ions say go in, then this one is excited. That's all. So now imagine this is glutamate, another neurotransmitter. When glutamate goes here, repeatedly glutamate allows certain things to enter here. You know what happens? Then the chemical connections inside this neuron form or get used to this release, and that forms memory. You know, for example, if I do like that, all of you will do. Follow me, okay? Then if I stop suddenly, you know, you will have one extra clap. You will be doing, if I stop suddenly, you will have an extra clap. And that's memory. That is how the memory here is recorded. And finally, the memory is recorded in the gene also. Okay. Now look at that synaptic vesicle containing also, it is neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter docks, then released, goes onto the receptor, and the post-synaptic neuron. Post-synaptic means beyond the synapse. This is either excited or inhibited. For this, calcium is required. Only when calcium comes, calcium drags this, gets it attached, and docks it. What happens if you give calcium channel blocker? This channel is blocked. When this channel is blocked, this neurotransmitter is not connected. So action of this neurotransmitter is minimized. This is how a neurotransmitter at a synapse acts. How many synapses we have like that? We have 100 trillion approximately synapses. These are the happy chemicals I have told you: dopamine, endorphin, oxytocin, serotonin. Like that, they are every once in a way, new neurotransmitters are released. Scientists find out, oh, there is another neurotransmitter. Like that, they are going beyond 50 and all that. And when they are learning neurotransmitters now, how can they give you perfect treatment, you tell me? Every day they are learning new chemical, and that chemical is always there with us acting. So what they do? How is the treatment possible? Even if it is possible, it's not perfect. It is only blindly given drugs for the mental conditions, because we do not know which synapse, how much of chemical or neurotransmitter is released. We do, you know what is an ideal drug? An ideal drug is the one which goes like a guided missile to the area where exactly there is some disease or there is some condition, and cures only that particular part, is an ideal drug. We have no ideal drug at all. It means our medicine is not ideal. It is blindly we are giving 100,000 times more than what is required. Somewhere it will go and hit, and you will get relieved the pain. You know, you get billion times more drug than actually required to relieve the pain. You have to give, because it has to go all over the body. A part of it go to that place, and chemical released may be neutralized, and the pain you may not feel. What I am trying to say, this is trial and error. Doctor also does not know it is going to a particular part and it is working. When we were studying and all that, they didn't know, oh, appendix is not very important, just it is there. And spleen, not very important, it is there. Thymus, okay. Now you know how important they are? They completely control our immunity, everywhere immunity. We did not know that there is microbiota in the intestine. We did not know that there is a gut brain in the intestine when we started studying. And now everything comes, and what will come after 100 years, how do we know? Still many more things will come after 100 years. Now look at this, I am coming to the very important point. Here is a center, what we call nucleus accumbens, reward center. In our brain, there is a center called reward center, or what we call motivational center. Without motivation, we would not have eaten food also. We would not have got up. We would not have done any work. That motivation is very important. That reward is very important. You must have seen in water world where a dolphin comes, jumps through a ring, makes a feat, and that trainer immediately gives one fish into its mouth that's happy, ready to jump again. That is motivation, a reward. And it gives some sort of pleasure. And whenever this is stimulated, you know, here dopamine is released. When dopamine is released, we feel the sense of being happy. Suddenly we become very happy. How nice. I want to remain happy still more. Still keep on doing that. That is the reason why we continuously shop. We always shop unwanted things, but we continuously shop not for the object, but for the pleasure it gives. When you go in front of Amazon, this1.com, and find certain things and you order, when he comes and delivers, you have some sort of pleasure. For that pleasure, you are giving money, not for the object. The object, it comes and then finally it is forgotten. Then you have no place to keep. A day has come where we have no place for e-waste. Now this one immediately gives some pleasure. And we call it instant pleasure. We have all become addicted to instant pleasure for the dopamine release. And that is the reason why, whatever it is, if there is a profit instantly good, you go to a person who sells real estate. There are two good real estate people in making your reward center getting excited. You know, the other fellow had come just now. He has put, you are my friend, therefore I will tell you, if you give advance now, if you do, then you will gain so much of money. Everything he shows. You immediately you pay the money. It's all motivation. It's reward. It is a center here happening. They have done experiment here in the rat. You look at this. They have put an electrode in the center, what I told, nucleus accumbens. Then you make the rat press liver once or twice. Then suddenly, when you take off your hand, it goes on pressing the liver hundreds of times. Sometimes it presses till it dies. It won't eat anything or anything. Why? Its pleasure center is stimulated. What is that pleasure center? I have just told nucleus accumbens. What is that pleasure we call? Instant pleasure. So we are all addicted to what kind of pleasure? Instant pleasure, immediately. There is an experiment done. All children were there and they were given one ice cream or so, and they were given certain time. If you don't take ice cream within this particular time, you will get double. Second ice cream you get. And holding it in front for half an hour or something, they could not wait. They ate invariably because they want instant pleasure. Instead of that, here in the prefrontal lobe, prefrontal cortex, there is an area, I am going to tell you shortly, which has connection with the subtler mind. There is an interface. I always believe that our Shastras are more scientific. Finally, even science also will come to that, but it takes some more time. They are already coming. And that there is an interface connection between the mind and the frontal cortex. And this connection will make this frontal cortex give some permutations, combinations, and different logarithmic sequences, and then comes to a decision, hey, anyhow, I am getting 2 if I just wait for some time. Why don't I wait? This is called delayed pleasure. So there is instant pleasure, there is delayed pleasure. So delayed pleasure comes when you give some time. So my request is, when there is a problem, when there is anything, immediately we should not take the call. If somebody comes and scolds you, just like that, what is our natural reaction? Immediately we say, hey, I am so and so, you are scolding me, what is this and all that. Instead of that, you tell, I will reply to your scolding after 2 days. Please come after 2 days. I will tell you what is the answer. After 2 days, neither he comes nor you answer. It is how this works. So delayed pleasure comes with the utility of the frontal cortex, because frontal cortex seeks the wise counsel of the mind. There is another structure here, what we call as hippocampus, where it is responsible for the memory. Memory is processed here in the hippocampus. Okay, we have seen this. All right, so there is always an emotional trigger. Where this emotional trigger comes? All right, I will explain another simple thing. Look here. Now here what happens, imagine this is dopamine. Now dopamine is released. They stick here, you become happy. When you become happy, you want to be more happy. You want to be more happy, more dopamine is released. Then that is not sufficient. You take a drug which releases much more dopamine. Then you become happy. Then one fine day, these receptors tune down. They say, hey, what is this going on? They suddenly tune it down, volume. Some of them will not function. Then what happens? Though dopamine is there, you are not getting pleasure. We call it addiction. Therefore, what they do? You use more dopamine. You get addicted to it. More dopamine, still more dopamine. More and more dopamine you take, less and less receptors become in number. We become actually addicted. You know what are the best addictive agents? You always think addiction means drugs. Drug is the greatest. No, there are normal, what we think normal, not normal, what we think as you common also are very bad addicts. Number 1, gambling. Number 2, shopping. Number 3, sex. All the 3 are going to have having addictive properties. We have to be very careful with them. They are all addictive. All right. Having seen that, okay. Most patients are not benefited by medicines. Why? We are not specific. Medicine, what they do, doctor, you know, sometimes some doctors prescribe 3 antibiotics. If not this, this will fit. This will fit. 3 antibiotics they may prescribe. It happens. So normally it should be an ideal drug. The drug is not ideal, therefore most benefits are not benefited. Medicine is dangerous. Why? Through overprescription, thousands of them are dying. Contrary to belief, aging population, is an unhealthy aging population. You see, aging population is not threat, but unhealthy aging population is threat. Most of us are becoming unhealthy. That is the. What is the modern medicine logo? What is their aim? Block the symptom. Patient is happy, doctor is rich. You go to him with a pain, and immediately patient go back laughing, smiling. Aha, what a good doctor. As soon as I went, he gave something, immediately it is released. What he did, he blocked the symptom. How? I will tell a simple example. There was a lady who was repeatedly going and asking a car mechanic, hey, there is a light here showing that your oil is not proper and all that. Please look into it. They replaced oil and everything, but still light was coming. She got exasperated. She went and told, what the hell you are doing? I am telling you, I came so many times, but you are not fixing it. All the other mechanics were looking up and down. Then one mechanic told, I will cure this. What? He took it around there and everything and went far off, removed that bulb, got the car back and gave. She was very happy. Yeah, light is not there. You have not cleared or cured underlying problem. You have just blocked the symptom. This is not going to help us. So, JAMA reports that likelihood of pinning this system is only 2%. How pathetic. It is an American Medical Association journal which tells only 2% of the diagnosis is pinpoint. 98% are not pinpoint diagnosis. And also, modern medicine underestimates body's ability to cure itself. Body has the greatest ability to cure itself. Yeah. What is the answer? They will come to this one day. Quantum medicine, quantum energy field. It is possible by encouraging our own mind and holistically controlling the whole body. All right, now let me go to this part. Okay. We are all in stress most of the times. Stress is very common. The stress is mediated through this system, what called autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is automatic. The one, for example, a student who was studying in some university came back. Mother is very happy that son has come back, and son is sitting over the chair and reading something or watching TV. Then mother was preparing some what he likes most. Was she was preparing. That smell was coming. He was salivating. Oh, ready to eat. When I eat and all that. Suddenly he found something crawling over his feet. He looked down. It was snake. Suddenly he jumped up and he told, Mama, what is this? What is happening? There was no saliva at all. He was sweating. You see, when he was relaxing, when he was sitting, the parasympathetic system was working. It is rest and digest. And when he was excited, when he was scared, sympathetic system was working. It is fight and flight or flight. Either you fight or flight. These two systems work in tandem. When one stops, the other begins. We these days using this sympathetic system more than this. This system was not meant for us. It was meant for our forefathers who are working in forest. You know, they were working and they had to deal with some animals. Suddenly, tiger comes, or he had to run. How he had to run? Then he switches over to sympathetic division. It diverts the blood from the intestine and all that to the limbs. Heart beats faster, glucose becomes more, and energy comes. He runs for his life and saves his life. That is why it is kept there. As soon as he came back home, he relaxed, rest and digest, parasympathetic system. Now our lifestyles have changed. Everything is stressful. If I miss the bus, it is stress. If I miss a call, it is stress. If my goodness, every bit of it is stress, then it has become a habit to take the help of sympathetic division. So when this sympathetic system comes, continuously our heart is pumping, glucose is released. So what happens? Very young age, we are hypertensive and diabetic. Who has created it? Our lifestyles have created it. Why? We want to enjoy. In the process, we have spoiled the beautiful mechanism of the body. Not only that, we don't stop there. What we do, further we continue, and then it goes to hypothalamus information. Information goes to hypothalamus that there is something wrong. You have to take action in the body. Hypothalamus is just like our membrane of the cell. Don't forget, I had told you before, membrane of the cell. That informs the other things inside the cell, like anterior pituitary. How it informs? Through a signal. What is the signal here? A chemical, corticotrophin releasing hormone. Then anterior pituitary releases anterior corticotropic hormone. It goes to adrenal gland, which is placed above the kidney, and which releases cortisol. And cortisol, in turn, what it does? It reduces the immunity, increases the blood glucose, and there is norepinephrine also released, which increases the heart rate. And this becomes now ingrained in the central circuit itself, and stress becomes a habit. That's how we become habituated to the text. This we call HPA axis. So now in the autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic, sympathetic. Then we have another nervous system inside in the intestine or gastrointestinal tract called enteric nervous system. You know, when you are excited, you feel something not very well in the stomach. You feel something very gut feeling, some feeling you will get. And even we say some gut feeling says there is something. And the chemicals which are released here, so one of them is serotonin. Almost all chemicals what are released, neurotransmitters in the brain are released in the intestine, which we did not know at all. And we were living all these thinking that only these neurotransmitters are released in the brain. So there is a gut brain now, which is in turn connected with the brain. So there is a coordination between sympathetic, parasympathetic, and enteric nervous system. So finally, whatever that is happening, I am nothing to do with that. It is brain stupid. It is brain which is acting. Why are we feeling that it is me? Whenever you are feeling depressed, whenever we are uneasy, whenever you are unhappy, whenever such signals comes to the brain, you should hit it like this and tell, hey, it is brain, stupid, it's not you. It is brain which is doing that. You are not the brain. It is the brain which is making all this. So we have to be sure that it is whenever a feeling of uneasiness comes, we have to withdraw a little and look at the brain. For example, there is a fear producing area known as amygdala. It is at the anterior or front of hippocampus. What we should do, we should close your eyes, look at the amygdala. Hey, cool down, cool down. When you start looking at the brain by something which is subtler than that, we will be able to say, hey brain, you are stupid. Don't drag me into your business. So all these feelings are because of connections, which I am going to tell you in the next class in little detail. And last class I had taken some 10-15 minutes more, and now I will stop. I request you to ask some questions. If you want, you can ask some questions. Thank you very much. Yes, any questions there? Chat. I will go to chat and see. Oh, so many are there. Any technical? Can we relate quantum? Oh, this is a good question. You see, how can we relate quantum theory and placebo effect to meditate and indeed heal ourselves? And does company indeed living in Maya matter on our brain waves? And does company indeed living in Maya matter on our brain waves? Anyhow, quantum theory and placebo effect. Placebo effect is a well-established effect. It is proved beyond doubt. Then placebo is not at the level of the brain. It is at the level of the mind. You see, I give you one very simple example. When I am looking at this computer, laptop is object, my eyes are subject. If I look my eyes from the brain, my occipital lobe of the brain is the subject and my eyes are object. Now, if I look my occipital lobe of the object by withdrawing from it, if I see, then I am using my mind to see the brain. And if I want to control some thoughts of this mind, I have to withdraw a little behind and I identify with consciousness and take mind as the object. It is at that time the complete belief occurs and the placebo effect takes place. There is no doubt about it. There is another question. Wait. Somebody is asking autoimmune disease. That I am going to explain in the classes for sure. Autoimmune is very important. I am going to explain that. If doctors are prescribing medicines which are not necessary, what is the alternative for us? Oh, this is, you see, unfortunately, this was not the case some 40, 50 years back. When I was some 30 years or 28 years or so, when my son was born or that, we never spent a single rupee also. Everything was free. Doctors were known. Doctors never charged money from that. Now, these days, things have so changed materialistically that we cannot say that it is bad. It has become so materialistic. Therefore, we have to get ourselves educated for this. When you go to hospital, you should be clear why you are going to hospital and get education of that. When you should go to hospital. You should go to hospital when your body tells you that there is something very serious with us. Say, unbearable stomachache, unbearable headache, some visual disturbance, some walking problems. Then we have to go and get it tested. Otherwise, there is no necessity to go to doctor at all. All this is new way of every 6 months you should get tested and all that. Kindly, please, that is only a commercial way of looking at things. These days, even research, everything has been commercialized. Do you believe the modern drugs which have come and work on these so-called immunity-related things, they work on that. They charge 50 to 60,000 rupees for one vial. It is there. It was never there before. And even penicillin was, when it was discovered, that was not so expensive. No drug was it. Now everything is expensive because we have moved into an era of business. Therefore, only my request is, before going to that, you have good friends who know little medicine, you discuss with them, and then when they find that you have to go to doctor, then you have to go to doctor. Otherwise, just I am feeling a little this one, let me go to that. Feeling belongs to brain. It belongs to you. It's not mine. You should tell. It belongs to me. Any uncomfortable feeling belongs to the brain. Yeah. Anything else? The doctors. So doctors do prescribe medicines. There is no doubt about it. They may, because you don't like, a doctor goes, like William Osler said, you should first learn not to prescribe medicine for the patients. If we say, and if a doctor says you are all right, you don't require medicine, we don't like that doctor. What he should do, poor fellow? He has to prescribe medicine because we don't like such doctor. He says you don't require anything. No, we don't believe. He has to write something. Oh, he has written some medicine, prescription. That is unfortunate because our brain is trained like that. We have to overcome that. By only knowledge, you will overcome that. By the knowledge that what we have understood so far is not complete. There is no complete medicine for sure. There is palliative measures are there. But we have to know that the real one is our mind, where we can go to the root and control and synchronize all the cells of the body, and that is health. Disease is disease. If you are not disease, you need not go to a doctor. Yeah, the feeling is very important. Yeah, tomorrow we go ahead and go with other important points. Especially tomorrow I am going to tell what are the things which brain creates, which we should avoid, and what are the things we can control over the brain, and then move on to immunity related things. Finally, we have to understand this jiva pertaining to this body, and then Ishvara Srishti, whatever it is out there, then finally we should understand who am I. That is our purpose. On the final day, we should know I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not this thought. The world is just moving. It is not a fixed element or anything. So I am what I am. I am just I, the existence, consciousness. We will understand that in the next classes. Real thought provoking. Oh, thank you. Okay, anything? Is that okay? Shall we close? Okay. Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you very much. We will meet tomorrow again. Thank you.